All rise.
This is Deeper Than Money. Talk to me. I want viewers watching my show to believe in themselves.
Judge Hatchett is compelling.
If he is not going to honor you, he needs to be gone.
Compassionate.
I don't want you to give up on your dreams. I don't. And I want to figure out how we get this straight.
She's powerful.
If I were in this situation, I would have put you out too.
And she's on the bench.
I feel like I'm being judged here.
That's what I do.
You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Carrie Lynn Kendrick is suing Erica Rollins in the amount of $5,169. Ms. Kendrick claims a dispute with her cousin over garage sale proceeds turned physical and says her cousin needs to hand over her share of the money.
Wow. You all, as I understand from the complaint, are actually cousins.
That's correct.
Correct.
But yet you're suing her for some $5,169 because you're saying that basically she cheated you, and you also have a claim for defamation.
That's
Is that
correct.
Right? Okay, so tell me what happened.
Your Honor, my name is Carrie Lynn Kendrick, and I'm suing my former favorite cousin
Former favorite cousin.
for proceeds.
Did you all fall out because of whatever
Yes.
brings you to court?
Yes, we did.
But you were close before. So tell me about the relationship before you fell out.
I think I was kind of a big sister to her growing up. Took her out when she was 21 and showed her a little nightlife and
Got her drunk on her 21st birthday.
we used to share fashion tips and stuff like that, and we used to hang out a lot.
Okay, all right.
It was pretty good.
So a good relationship before this happened.
You know, Your Honor, it was really pretty great. You know, I did think of her as like a sister, and, you know, to be honest, I just don't know how it got to this point. You know, it seems like ever since our grandmother died a few years ago, the whole family's just crumbled and just fallen apart, and I don't know how to fix it.
Things changed after your grandmother died?
I think so,
Yeah.
yes.
How so? Talk to me.
She left each of us some items that were very close to her heart. She didn't necessarily designate certain things for me versus her, but some of the items we included in the joint garage sale that we had at her house, and she was responsible for pricing and also identifying the items, mine versus hers, through letters. Mine were supposed to be A, hers were supposed to be B, but she says it's the other way around. She was responsible for collecting the money. I kind of was hobnobbing with the customers and answering questions. At the end of the day, at the end of the sale, I think she shortchanged me money, and I was very upset about that. Not only that, but I also provided donuts for the early bird customers.
Late.
Did you want to comment about that, cousin?
Well, so, Your Honor, I'm sorry, but if I may for just a moment, the thing is we were supposed to start the garage sale at 7 a.m.
Right.
And I had actually, you know, as we had talked, we had decided that it would really be a good idea if we, you know, of course, a few days before, advertise this garage sale. So I went all throughout the neighborhoods and put up signs. I also posted online on our next door application, you know, that the community looks at. And it specifically stated in there, along with pictures of everything that we're going to be selling, that it starts at 7 a.m.
7:30.
No, it said
Well,
it started
but you
at
said that you advertised at 7 a.m.
Yes, I actually.
Did you let her know that it was
Yes,
gonna
I
be-
did. I did,
May I
of
see
course. So there's this.
So
and
why are you saying it's 7:30 and she's saying it's 7 o'clock? I mean, we can't even agree on the time
Why,
that it
I
starts.
had to pick up the donuts that morning, so I told her we should do it at 7:30.
But she'd already put everything up on the
Unbeknownst
post.
to me, she actually advertised it for
I
7
told
o'clock.
her, she just forgot.
Okay, so now we can't even agree on what time it started. So this is
Right.
really going downhill fast.
We had some people actually stop by at 7, and because they were like, oh, free donuts. Well, when they got there, there were no donuts, just the coffee that I'd made. And then she wanted me to reimburse her or split the cost of the donuts. And I'm like, I provided all of the coffee. And she doesn't think, oh, well, that doesn't cost anything. It's like, actually, it does. I provided coffee, creamer, sugar, cups. There's a picture of everything that I included for both days, along with the receipt for all
Here's
the
my
items.
receipt for the donuts, Your
Oh
Honor.
my. We're getting down in the weeds. We're fighting over donuts and coffee. Let me see your receipt for the donuts. Wait a minute, this is some expensive coffee.
Expensive donuts too, Your Honor.
She wants to say that I didn't pay her her fair share.
Well, that's what
And
we
then
really
she
want to
was-
get to. I'm not going to get bogged down in the donuts and the coffee
Right.
and the creamer and the sugar and the napkins and the cups.
Right.
Coming up on The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
And she's saying, well, why did you mark my stuff with your letter? And I'm like, I didn't. It was my stuff that you had.
First of all, you all should have never had a garage sale. I mean, seriously.
And later,
You've said like he's really been more like a brother to you.
In the past years, from one Thanksgiving to the other, we haven't spoken.
So you haven't spoken since
Other
this
than me
happened?
asking for him to pay for the bills.
if you'll be in the Los Angeles area and want to bring your case to court, call 1-888-552-6878. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. The Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Carrie Lynn Kendrick, who is suing her cousin Erica Rollins for $5,169.
I think I need to try to figure out why you all are really here, okay? So can we get to that?
So as people were checking out, I made a note of actually how much everything was. Everything in column A was the stuff that was mine. Everything that's in column B was the stuff that was hers. And you can see the total up if you want to total it
I
yourself.
want to see that.
Sure.
And Your Honor, I also have an itemized list of things that I contributed to the.
Let me see that one.
But Your Honor, some of the things that she is claiming that were hers were not hers. There are things that she borrowed from me years ago and never returned. The vintage Pirates cookware that I loaned her 4 years ago, I still haven't gotten back. And then she was going to put them in the garage sale. So
Your Honor,
then,
she
of
told me go
course,
ahead
I
and
marked it
keep
as
them,
mine,
so I did.
as A, because it was mine in the first place. And she's saying, well, why did you mark my stuff with your letter? And I'm like, I didn't. It was my stuff that
Whoa.
you had.
First of all, you all should have never had a garage sale. I mean, seriously.
And it's like, no, they're mine originally in the first place. Of
She
course, you
told me
put
to
letter
keep
A
them,
on
Your
there.
Honor.
No, I said to you, I didn't care about the scarf, okay? That's it.
Was it worth it to have this garage sale?
Oh my God.
How much money did you all
Your
make
Honor,
on this
Your
garage
Honor,
sale?
It gets
Totally-
worse. It gets worse.
It gets worse?
Oh, it
How
gets
could it get
worse.
worse?
It gets worse because
How could it get worse?
at the end of the garage sale, she had the cash box,
Right?
and we were squabbling over who gets what. We should have divided it equally, $515 a piece, because we made $1,030.
Then what's the point of doing A for me and B for you to distinguish whose stuff is whose? If we're just going to split it equally. You're the one who wanted your money for your stuff. You didn't want to split it equally
Well, I
in the
still
beginning.
think it's fair because there was controversy related to the items that we split it evenly. I don't think it was a large amount of money to give me, and I think what's fair is fair. What made matters worse is that after we squabbled about the excess money, she had
pushed me.
a cash box in her hand. She's wearing these goofy flip-flops on her feet. I went to kind of grab it. She claims I shoved her.
She did.
She fell back and then called the police on me.
I told her-
So I now have a record, something on a police report that names me.
So that's how we
defamation.
got from the amount of money. Because I was thinking, well, how in the world did we get to over
Yes.
$5,000?
So,
Explain that part to me.
It was a very embarrassing experience in front of all the neighbors. It was humiliating, and I feel she defamed my character.
No, I asked you to leave. You
Wait a minute.
refused
This
to leave.
comes. First of all, what are you all thinking? Is
I
it
don't know what she
really
was
worth
thinking.
it? I mean, come on now.
I know.
You came in here and told me that you considered each other sisters. And now we got the police. We got a police report. We've got a tussle in the driveway. I mean, what the hell?
I don't know. I just know that the way she snapped that afternoon before I had to call the police
I
and
didn't snap,
pushed
Your
me,
Honor.
and I fell. And when I
didn't push
asked
her.
her to leave, I asked her kindly to leave, and she refused. That's why I called the police, to get her to leave. I didn't want it to escalate any more than it already had.
I think the only reasonable thing to do is to split the $1,030, which is $515 for each of you. How much were you paid?
$386.
$386. And we're going to subtract that from the $515, which comes out to be $129. Are we clear?
Yes.
But more importantly than the money, you all need to try to figure this out. This is not healthy. And I think that you all need to sit down and figure this out because it's just not worth it. It's not worth a relationship that has spanned decades. You all were acting like children. No, that's not right. Children would have acted better than this. Both of you were acting irresponsibly. So, judgment for the plaintiff for the reasons I've talked about in the amount of $129. But the question is, what's going to happen when you leave here today?
I don't know.
You don't know.
I mean, I'll pay her what I owe her, but, you know, because you said that that's what you think is fair. So I think maybe we just need to take some time to reassess our relationship and move forward from there.
What do you think?
I think we should have a kumbaya moment right now.
Well, who's going to be woman enough to take the first step?
I will. Come on, cuz.
Don't do that again.
You either.
Why don't you all act like it was your 21st birthday and go out and drinking, and you all get out of my courtroom. Don't even ask them what they think. Let's get them out of here. Judgment for the plaintiff.
Thank you, Your Honor.
In the amount of $129. Why don't y'all take the money and go drinking? All right? We'll stand adjourned.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $129.
Exit this way, please. Watch your step. Watch your step.
Coming up,
So how do you all even know each other?
Mason is my cousin,
All right.
and he's been like a little brother to me.
But yet you're in my courtroom suing him.
Yes, it's been very difficult.
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Brittany Duplessis is suing Mason Stagg in the amount of $725. Ms. Duplessis claims her cousin's dog attacked and injured her cat during a Thanksgiving gathering and says the defendant needs to pay the vet bills.
Hi, I understand that you're here suing the defendant for some $725 because your pet was injured severely. Is that correct?
That is correct, Your Honor.
So how do you all even know each other?
Mason is my cousin,
All right.
and he's been like a little brother to me.
But yet you're in my courtroom suing him.
Yes, it's been very difficult.
All right, so let's start at the beginning. What actually happened?
Well, it was Thanksgiving of last year, and I had the honor of being the host for Thanksgiving that year. Also, in kind, I wanted to welcome his new dog into our lives, our family. And this was a shelter dog. It was 3 weeks prior he had acquired this dog.
All right, so Mason,
or
hold on
adopted.
just a second. So you got a dog?
Yes, just wanted to bring it into the family, and we discussed everything. I let her know, like, her history and how good she is with other people and other dogs and even cats. And
It sounds like things are going well.
Well, we agreed to have them in separate areas. I thought it was responsible to bring the dog in through the backyard to stay there for the duration of the evening. My kitty is used to being in the laundry room because she is a bit of a street cat. There's a back door, and this is where the cat got out.
Coming up,
Now, when when I come down the bench, I expect some certain kind of answers.
well, Your Honor, I
What?
you're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett. Verdict with Judge Hatchett is back with the case of Brittany Duplessis, who is suing Mason Stagg for negligence.
So how did she get out? If she was in the laundry room and the door was closed, I would presume that the door was closed if we had the dog outside in the yard.
Mason was in the backyard playing fetch, and we have an Uncle Terry who is a little bit problematic, and he gets really festive, drinks heavily. The door was open and left open because he went from the kitchen to the laundry room where I had told everyone not to, but he didn't listen. And
Excuse me, Your Honor. I do have to mention that we have discussed that that door would be locked. It was unlocked because how would Terry be able to?
So the door was supposed to be locked.
Yes. And it was her responsibility as well to let every member of the family know that you should not enter this room because Ollie's in there and we have a dog outside. It was her mistake for going over there and biting her, and
the damage
yeah,
was
I mean
done.
it is out of my responsibility.
Do you feel badly that this happened?
Of course I do. This is my cousin, and that's.
How's it affected the two of you? I mean, you've said like he's really been more like a brother to you.
In the past years, from one Thanksgiving to the other, we haven't spoken. And
So you haven't spoken since
other
this
than me
happened?
asking for him to pay for the bills. I just wanted to take care of this and make it make sense. I just want the.
Mason, do you feel like you should do anything? Now, when you come, when I come down the bench, I expect some certain kind of answers.
Well, Your Honor,
What?
I do believe that this is not my fault. I'm always willing to be her cousin.
Judge Hatchett's verdict when we return. You're watching The Verdict with Judge Hatchett.
There needs to be some responsibility with the uncle. I'm telling you, I don't care if he was tipsy. He needs to weigh in on this because he shouldn't have gone and opened the door. Come on. If he had been tipsy in the house and left the dog out there and the cat got out, I would see this very differently. I think that he was doing what he was supposed to do. We've got this X factor of the uncle coming in unexpectedly and opening that back door, all right? And so what I think is that you're going to contribute. You are going to contribute to these vet bills, right? You are. And I am going to enter judgment for part of it. Not all of it, but part of it, right? But you need to go and talk to this uncle, right? But what I need more importantly is for you all to mend this relationship. But before you all leave this courthouse, I expect you all to spend some time together because it is not worth it that this relationship falls apart over this incident. Do you understand what I'm saying? All right, so judgment in favor of the plaintiff for $250 you're going to contribute. I understand that you were acting responsibly, and then you all are going to sit down and talk to find this uncle, and he's going to have to come up with the rest of this. You understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
If there's nothing further, we'll stand adjourned.
Thank you.
All rise.
Judge Hatchett has ruled in favor of the plaintiff. The defendant has been ordered to pay $250.
Any final words or comments for each other?
I hope we can talk about things.
Of course.
Gather your belongings. Exit to the rear of the court.
This has been a production of Allen Media Group.